Hey everybody, welcome back to another edition of Ratshak Unhinged.
Hey, thank you very much. Hold your applause until we finish this thing, okay?
Today on Ratshak, we will be working on this 2003 Buick LeSabre. This car recently decided to start sputtering and bucking and hesitating and stalling while it was driving, and then the service engine soon light came on. This is never a good thing. So I took out the scan tool and I ran the codes, and it came up with 4 codes. All of them were related to the ignition control module. So since that was the issue, it was time to buy a new part and install it. So this is what we're putting in today. This is an ignition control module for my 2003 Buick LeSabre, or as the King Rat always called it, El Presidente. So this is the unit right here. And we are going to replace the one that's in the car with this one because the one in the car is causing me all sorts of problems. So let's get started. Now, one thing that's kind of a pain is before you change this part out, you are going to want to disconnect the battery. Now, let me go to the front engine bay. And if you notice, there is no battery. There is this unit over here that looks like it would be where the battery is. But that in fact is not a battery. So in order to access the battery, because it needs to be disconnected before you change this part, you need to go in the back seat. And I think that sounds counterintuitive, but that's the way they built these. And after you do that, you need to actually take out the bottom seat. And then you will notice there's your battery as well as a fuse box. So if you ever need to access your battery, that's where to do it. And in order to do this, I had disconnected just the black terminal. So that's the one that you need to disconnect in order to do this. And so the ignition control module is underneath these coils right here. And in order to get it off, you need to unscrew this plug from the front, and that bolt is a 7mm wrench that you're going to need to get that loose. So I've already got that loose here. Now, these are all your spark plug wires. You're going to want to make sure that those are all labeled so that you can line them up properly again. So these, if you notice, my wires all have numbers on them. If they don't have numbers on the wires in yours, then you're going to want to put something on here so that you know which numbers are which. You could use like a paint marker or whatever so that you can know which one goes to which. And these coils are all marked. If you notice 632541, and that's so that you'll have the right firing order for your plugs. So in order to get these coils off, these are all 5.5mm. The socket that you're going to need to get those loose. I've pre-loosened most of them so that they're going to come a little easy because I didn't know how bad these were going to be. So first thing you're going to want to do is take off all your spark plug wires. And like I said, make sure those are labeled first, and make sure you remember which coils go in which location, because you don't want to put those in the wrong place because that could be catastrophic. So what we're going to do is we're going to loosen all of these. You have to excuse me if my arm is in the way. This car has been having some significant issues with things like misfiring and hesitation and bucking and random stalling. So those are all things that are indicative of this module. And it finally threw a code, and when I ran the scan tool on it, it came back ignition control module. And so, while it's not an inexpensive part, it's a very simple part to replace. So that's what we're going to do today. Like I said, these all need to be loosened. There's six things here that you're going to need to loosen. And you don't need to take the screws all the way out. Because these are pretty rusty, that's why I tried loosening everything in advance, and I just dropped something. Oh, I dropped one of the bolts. So I'm gonna have to find that on the ground, which hopefully that's where it went. And if it didn't, then it's gonna be a more difficult process, but we'll worry about that later. So this right here is the ignition control module, and it's kind of dirty and gross, and that's could be part of the problem. But what we're going to do is we're going to put the other one in the same location as this. And we are going to need that bolt to do it, so I am going to have to find that. Let's take a quick break and do that, and then I will grab the part and let's get started. Okay, so the screw has been recovered, and if you notice on the old module, see how there's orange things here? These are rubber pieces that help the coils seat properly. So the new module came with new ones, and so I put those on. So if you see, these are all the rubber things, and they go down and get seated here. It's a very official term, you know, the rubber things. And so here we go, and we just put it back in the same place as the previous one. And everything lines up, and then we install the coils in the exact same order as they were before. Now, I have one thing that you might want to do so that you can remember. If you don't write it down, then you could take a picture before you take the coils off so that you know exactly where they go, and that could help significantly. Or you put them exactly in the order and just make sure that you put them in the same order when you put them back in. So first we have 4 and 7, and if you notice on the underside of the coils, there will be 2 holes that align with these pins that come up. So we're going to align those as we put them in, and they should slide right on, just like that. And so then you're going to put on the 2 and 5, and then you're going to put on the 3 and 6. This right here, we're going to put back in underneath here. So that'll go right in here. And then that nut will get tightened. So as I said, we're doing 2 and 5. And then we are doing 3 and 6. Just like that. And then we have to tighten everything down, which I will take care of, and then this part will be installed. Now we don't want to go extremely tight, but definitely want to make sure that they seat properly. I'm sure that there is an appropriate torque, but I don't know what that is. You definitely want so they won't move. So you don't want to beat the hell out of them either. So just get them in there nice and tight. Some people will use a drill to do this, but I think that's overkill in this situation, and it's really easily done with a small ratchet and an extension, and you only need a short extension for something like this. The King Rat would be very proud of me doing this on my own. After you get all these tight, what you're going to want to do is reattach all the wires. Now remember, you know which numbers are which, right? So, if this is 5, this is 3, this is 6, and they just pop on there and make sure that they pop on tight, because you want a good contact. So that's 4, and then 1, and of course it's the last one that doesn't want to go on. There we go. And then I have to go get my 7mm so that I can tighten that front one, and this part will be installed. So the next thing we have to do is test it. And now I'm going to reconnect it so that we can test this out. All right, let's go. And so here we go. We're gonna start the car now. And there we are. And service engine light is out.